Welcome to The Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into something lots of us run into. That feeling, you're in a meeting, you understand everything, but when it's your turn to speak English, you kind of freeze up. So, this deep dive is all about giving you a shortcut, really, helping you sound more confident, more natural in those professional settings. We've dug into some great advice specifically from how to improve business English at work, real meeting phrases. It's packed with, well, real world phrases you can actually use.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to help you change that feeling, that sort of tongue-tied feeling, into a sense of clarity, empowerment even. We want to show you not just what to say, but also why certain phrases work so well, and importantly, how you can practice them effectively.
Okay, perfect. Let's unpack presenting first. Getting up there in a meeting, how do we move beyond just reading points and actually sound, well, confident, less like a robot maybe?
Right. It really comes down to having the right phrases ready. Phrases to start strong, to transition smoothly between your points, highlight the really key info, and then wrap it all up effectively. So for starting, think about phrases like, let me kick things off. Or maybe, today I'll walk you through. Another good one is to set the stage. They just signal you're taking charge.
Walk you through. I like that. It sounds much more natural than just, I will present.
Exactly. And then for moving between ideas, smooth transitions are crucial so people can follow you. Try things like, that brings us to the next point, or let's shift gears for a moment, or even, now zooming in on this section, it keeps the momentum going. And when you've got some data or a really important insight, you need lines that make people pay attention, like, what stands out here is, or here's the key takeaway. I also like this number speaks for itself. It adds a bit of punch.
Yeah, it does.
And finally, summarizing. You need to signal you're concluding. Phrases like, to wrap things up, or in a nutshell, work well. And that really direct one, the bottom line is super clear, very confident.
Hearing you list them like that,
Yeah.
it clicks. It's not just random words. It's like a structure for sounding polished. That phrase, the bottom line is, it does sound very decisive. But I wonder, could using these sorts of set phrases sometimes feel a bit impersonal, especially if your team is usually super casual? Is there a risk of sounding, I don't know, a bit stiff?
That's a really good point. It's all about how you deliver them, right?
Yeah.
Authenticity matters. In a super casual team, maybe allow me to kick things off is too much, but okay, let's kick this off. Works perfectly. The goal isn't just formality. It's clarity and showing you've thought things through. When you say the bottom line is, even casually, you're showing focus, you're guiding the conversation. It signals confidence, which, builds trust no matter how informal the setting is. It makes your ideas land better.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about adapting the level but keeping the function. Right, let's shift gears then. What about when you're mainly listening? How do you participate, show you're engaged, or ask for clarification without just interrupting awkwardly?
Great question. It's all about engaging politely and, crucially, adding value. So just to show you're tracking, you can use simple things like, that's a great point, or I completely agree with that approach. Or maybe, interesting perspective, I hadn't thought of it that way. That shows you're actually processing what they said. And if you want more, could you elaborate a bit more on that? Is perfect.
Those are good standard phrases, but sometimes you hear people use them almost automatically, like they're just filling silence. How do you make sure it sounds genuine?
Yeah, that's the trap, isn't it? It has to come from actually listening. It's a tool, not a script. So if you genuinely need something cleared up, be direct but polite. Phrases like, just to clarify, do you mean? Or, if I understand correctly, you're saying, work really well, or even a quick, can I confirm one thing before we move on? It shows diligence, not confusion.
Right. Proactive clarification.
Exactly. And then if you want to add something, build on their idea. You can use phrases like, to build on what you said, or just to add to that. And there's also, I'd like to piggyback on that idea.
Wait, piggyback. Really? People actually say that in serious business meetings? I always thought that sounded a bit, well, informal.
Well, absolutely. It sounds informal, yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's surprisingly common and generally accepted now, especially in more collaborative settings like brainstorming or team updates. It clearly signals you're supporting and extending the previous point, not shooting it down. It kind of encourages that collaborative feel.
Huh. Okay. Good to know. So it's about fostering collaboration.
Precisely. These phrases let you contribute thoughtfully, without hijacking the conversation or just sitting there passively.
Okay, this leads perfectly into asking questions. This can be tricky. How do you ask questions that make you sound curious and constructive rather than maybe unsure or worse, like you're challenging someone aggressively?
Ah, yes, the art of the question. Framing is everything. It dictates the whole tone of the response, instead of something blunt that might put someone on the defensive.
Like, why did you do that?
Exactly. Instead of that, aim for a more collaborative feel. Try things like, what's your take on, or could you share some context behind that decision, or connect it to broader goals? How do you see this aligning with our Q3 goals? It shows strategic thinking. Other good options are there alternative approaches we've considered? That opens up possibilities. Or, can you help me understand the reasoning behind this? Much softer than why. And thinking ahead. What challenges should we anticipate if we move forward? That's solution-focused.
I can immediately see how those land differently. But okay, what about times when you do need to be more direct? Like, time is short, a decision is just wrong. Is there a point where politeness gets in the way of efficiency?
That's a fair challenge. Yes, sometimes directness is needed, but even then, you can frame it professionally. Instead of a flat "no, that won't work," maybe try. Given our current constraints, I see some potential roadblocks with that approach. Could we perhaps explore X as an alternative? See? Still direct about the issue, but constructive.
Okay, so directness doesn't have to mean bluntness.
Exactly. And when you genuinely disagree, it's about opening a door, not slamming it. So phrases for polite disagreement. Things like, I see where you're coming from, but I wonder if. Or frame it as exploration. I'm curious, have we explored any other options? Or suggest an alternative gently. Would it make sense to instead?
That really highlights the difference, doesn't it? Going from that potentially confrontational, why are we doing this, to a much more open, can you help me understand the reasoning? I actually worked with someone who used to just say, I don't know, or why that way a lot. We practiced switching to things like, let me find out and circle back, or could you walk me through the background on this? Yeah, and honestly, the difference in how their team perceived them, more reliable, more proactive, it was noticeable really fast. Small phrase changes, big impact.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Those small shifts have huge ripple effects.
So we have this fantastic list of phrases now, but knowing them is one thing. Actually using them, especially if you feel a bit awkward trying new things, that's the next step. What are some practical, quick tips for getting these into your daily routine?
Right, consistency is the name of the game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be overwhelming. One really effective technique is shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah, you basically listen to native speakers, maybe a business podcast, a YouTube clip, a TED Talk, and you repeat what they say, trying to mimic their intonation, their rhythm. It helps train your mouth and your brain to produce the sounds and cadences naturally, kind of bypassing that awkward translation step in your head.
Okay, I can see that. Like muscle memory for your mouth.
Exactly. Another great tip, though it might feel weird at first, is to record yourself. Just use your phone. Record a mock presentation, or even just you explaining a concept out loud. Listening back helps you catch weird pauses, find spots where your tone is off, and see where you could naturally slot in some of these new phrases. You learn a lot by hearing yourself.
A bit cringy maybe, but probably effective.
It can be, but yeah, it works. Also, just read aloud. Seriously, read your emails, reports, articles out loud. It helps with vocabulary, sentence flow, and just getting comfortable with a more professional tone.
Simple, but makes sense.
And then, be deliberate. Use the phrases intentionally. Pick one. Just one new phrase you want to try, like, let's circle back, or in a nutshell, and make a point to use it in a meeting that day. The more you actively use them, the less awkward they feel, and the more they just become part of your natural speech.
One phrase a day, manageable.
Totally. And finally, keep a phrase bank, just a simple note on your phone or a document. When you hear a phrase you like in a meeting or from your shadowing, jot it down. Review it occasionally. It helps build that active vocabulary.
Those are really practical tips. It doesn't sound like some massive, scary project anymore. It feels like something you can actually chip away at day by day.
That's the idea. Small, consistent steps lead to big improvements.
Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive. Seriously useful. You've basically given us a whole toolkit of phrases and strategies to feel, well, much more confident and effective in meetings.
Glad to hear it. And remember, the bottom line here isn't about using fancy, complicated words. It's really about sounding clear, sounding respectful, and being engaging. Use these phrases, adapt them so they sound like you, and just keep practicing. Every conversation is a chance to refine things.
Definitely. I'm actually going to make a point of using the bottom line is in our team sync later this week. I like how direct it feels.
Good for you, and you'll nail it with a bit of practice.
So for you listening, here's something to think about. What if you intentionally tried just one, maybe two of these phrases in your next meeting? How might that small change start to shift how you communicate and maybe even how others see your contributions? Something to chew on.